Hi, I'm Tracy Yonker, and this is my final for my creative writing class. And I'm going to read some of my work from this semester. And I'm going to go ahead and start with the poetry project. And first of all, I wanted to say right out front that I've never written poetry before, really, not a whole lot anyway, until this class. And I've been aware of personification and the use of similes and metaphors, but I've never actually really put a lot of effort into putting it into work, into use before through poetry, and I found it to be very what's the word I'm looking for? I just found it to be a way to really express myself and my thoughts and things that I'm feeling, and the different types of poems were really interesting working with. So for my project, I'm going to start with the first one. It says the haiku poem. A cool morning breeze casts out the falling brown leaves, naked branches left, mulberry blossoms softly falling from the tree, soft, moist, and sticky. Summer here anew, refreshing warmth on my skin, life is awakened. My winter blanket dresses the earth in repose for hibernation. The sun is rising, gently warming on my skin. Okay, now this next one for the project, I did a free verse poem, and what inspired me to write this one was ultimately the death of my daughter's boyfriend. He passed away last April in a horrible car accident, and even though it was my daughter that it affected the most, it still affected all those around her, and it still does. So that's what really inspired me to write this next one. Okay. I stare lost in thought of what would have been, and I see her life, his life, what should have been, their life. Clear as day I see them living, happily ever after, like promised childhood stories. Everything she feels, I feel, pain and misery, crippling her life. No joy left in her soul. One mistake, and he is ripped from my daughter's life, like a lie that cannot be untold, a mistake that cannot be reversed. His life, her life, should have been their life, happily ever after, only exists when she escapes. Her guardian angel protecting her life now. I am lost in my mind. Thoughts swarming all around me of what should have been. Okay, and then the last one that I did is called Trust. It's the Villantre. Not sure if I'm sorry, I don't think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Villanelle. I don't know how to read apparently or pronounce it, but anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, and what inspired me to write this poem was basically my divorce and learning how to trust people again, which, I'm still not all the way there. It's a work in progress, but okay, here it is. From out of the haze of dawn, the lane drew to my drained eye the contorted sign Trust. Through the spider's net I stride through shadowed gate from out of the haze of dawn. For that old path I will ache, born to the fear of change, the contorted sign Trust. To old angers I still cut, a new path draws my hope. From out of the haze of dawn, a dull light I may observe, around the curve ahead, the contorted sign Trust. Old ways I choose to leave, with purpose my feet tread, from out of the haze of dawn, the contorted sign Trust. And that was the last one in that series. The next thing I wanted to read was my short story, so let me go ahead and pull that up here on my iPad. What this I wrote about for my short story, I haven't posted this one on Blackboard. This one is called First Kiss, and this is something I wrote that's completely not true, so it would be considered fiction. And I don't write a lot of fiction. Usually I draw upon my own experiences, so I really tried to put a lot of creativity into this from things that I've learned through the class. Okay. Catching her breath, she composed herself as her 2 feet gradually relaxed onto the frosty pavement of her frigid driveway, covered in a soft blanket of snow. This time her hand remained on his shoulder, They had been walking for almost an hour, trying to make it to her house before her 11 o'clock strict curfew. In an effort to keep warm, she briefly rubbed her hands on his forearm as they interlocked arms. They had been good friends for nearly 3 years. In the beginning, she had a crush on him, but she soon settled into a fond friendship that they both savored. She knew that things were somehow different now, but she did not quite understand. As they both recuperated from their frost-bitten walk, he carefully rubbed her arms in an effort to bring warmth to her icicle limbs. The way in which he leisurely caressed her shoulders, arms, and hands told her that his feelings for her had changed into something more than friendship. She wanted to say something, but had no idea if she was just fooling herself and did not want to risk it. Frantically she began to laugh and play as she twisted his arms and challenged him into a scuffle. He responded immediately to fend off her attack, but as she escaped beneath his hand, her leg twitched, tripping him to the perfectly lined snowflakes outlining a quilt. After a few distraught moments of delirious movement, she was sitting on his lap, with her legs freely swaddled around him, and her hands pressing his arms down. He quickly flipped her over and put his arms around her torso, holding her tightly to him. Their faces were pressed against each other's cheeks. Erratically, she lifted her face and started to loosen her grip, but he did not. She inched her way back to his face, and in response he leaned in and met her halfway, smelling her tingly, minty breath. Impulsively, he met her soft lips as he passionately pressed his now confident lips against hers. They began creating a new friendship as they kissed and breathed each other in. Much like everything else, it would not last, but while it did, it was tremendous. So, anyway, I just want to thank Dr. Clemente for the class. It was awesome. I had a great time. I learned a lot. It was a lot of fun, and I want to thank all of everybody who participated in the discussion for the feedback. Everybody's been very helpful. Thank you.